All right, what we have here is an incredibly overdue mail opening video. This has been sitting on my desk for at least a week. Shipping was very prompt from this fellow, great communication. I mean, he couldn't ship right away because he had some things going on, but his communication about it was excellent. And that's completely understandable because we all have our own lives outside of fancy pieces of cardboard. Some good taping in here too. Okay. So, I'm gonna. Okay, cool. Let's see what we have. This has been sent to me by Paul, and I want to thank Paul right away for using painter tape. That's a lot less bad than those type of things can often go. And geez, I don't recall what could be here, to be honest. Huh. Well, I'm excited to see what's inside this. Huh. Interesting. Okay, well. Here we have an eBay Authenticity Guaranteed Time Twister. eBay Authenticity Guaranteed Black Mana Producing Artifact. And an artifact that can tap for blue. That's very convenient. All right. Those are all, if you're wondering, those are all collector's edition, international collector's edition. Yeah, I'm not springing right now for beta. And I'm just getting some cards I can actually play with. So those will be usable in the formats that I'm playing them in. And leaves me more budget, and I think they're a good price. And I guess this is a good time as any to talk about Magic 30 and the reprinting of Collector's Edition. That's essentially a reprinting. It means nothing to me. I mean, I actually bought these cards about 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before that announcement happened, and it may affect somewhat the price of Collector's Edition, like the ones I have here. It may not at all. Remains to be seen. You know, sometimes certain cards get a reprint, and then actually, because the card's getting attention, it starts finding its way into decks, or people get interest in it, and then the original actually gains value. I'm looking at the numbers for print run data for those, and the pull rates, and since they're $250 US a pack, and since something like only 1 in 13 rares will be an old border foil. So if you want to collect something like these old border power cards in old border, there's a lot of great posts and sites that have done the math. It would actually be cheaper to just go out and buy the beta copies. So for whatever purposes, I'm not going to get into, that's a whole nother topic, what Hasbro is doing to the card game and what their goals are, but I don't think it's going to affect the price of the cards because it's still, the price is set extremely high on those. And also, they're not 30 years old like these ones are. These are genuinely authentic, old, and rare, even if they are proxies. These new ones are artificially rare. They're printed to a scarcity, so these ones will always have a better value. I'd be very careful assigning any real values to the reprint ones because it's all made up stuff. You know, the game has already taken off. Everybody knows These are sought after cards. When these things were printed, the whole set of collector's edition cost $50 US dollars, you know. So you could get all this for $50, and I wish that's what I paid for it now, because I didn't buy one back then. But you know, they're not going to be able to remake these. These are actually done with the with, I think, the beta palette, so the beta printing stamps, and those are the most beautiful correct color stamps of all of them. So yeah, the new ones, will they look as good? I don't know. I really don't know. They won't have square corners, which I don't care about. And like I said, these are for play in old school leagues that accept this type of a proxy. What else can I say? What else can we say about that reprinting? It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like something they should be doing on the 30th anniversary of the card game. But I completely understand from a business standpoint why they might do that. And it's, you know, it's all about revenue and fourth quarter revenue and making more money and looking good to shareholders. I don't think it's a great move for the game, and I don't think it's a great move for the player base. It definitely doesn't feel good, but you know, hey, maybe it'll turn out to have an opposite effect, and maybe in a few years' time we'll look back and say, oh, it was a good thing they did. It doesn't feel good now, though. It doesn't feel like a 30th anniversary reward. It kind of feels like a bit of a slap. But again, maybe there's a lot of people who are happy about it. I think the price point, the fact that it costs $1,000 to try to enjoy any of that, I think that's what's the worst part about it. If it was like, you know, actually affordable, if people who actually played the game and enjoyed those cards could afford to buy it and start, you know, people who weren't there for beta and unlimited and all those type of cool things, people who couldn't open these from packs could have that experience. I think that would be awesome. But anyway, that's not the case. People who, you know, you have to be extremely with the deep pockets to open up those packs, those new collector's packs that they're making. And so it's not really going to be that experience for the people who could have probably enjoyed it the most. And so people are not going to crack packs and play games and do things like the way that these cards were meant to be used when they were printed. And you know, I'll show you another video later. I did some work for a fellow. I did a couple of hour job fixing something around their house, because that's kind of what I do sometimes. And instead of getting paid, the guy and I had talked a long time ago about him playing Magic in the 90s like I did. And he started playing around Ice Age, and he doesn't use his cards anymore. And I did a few hours of work, and I said, I'll tell you what, I don't feel like charging you for a few hours. Do you want to just trade some cards for work straight up? And I do not expect to strike it rich. Like I say, he started after Ice Age, or at Ice Age. I saw some revised cards, nothing crazy. I really don't think there's any dual lands in there. And get the impression I saw like one demonic tutor in there. And not to spoil it, but it's probably the most valuable card in the collection. But it was so cool to get this box of one long box and one small box of this fellow's cards, because I lost my cards a long time ago. And just finding cards out there in the wild. And you know what? None of the cards were in sleeves in these long boxes. And you could tell which cards have been in the deck. And when I stopped playing in 98. I had never played with sleeves on my cards up until then. And the sleeve quality back then was really abysmal, at least in my area. So it wasn't something you would play with. You know, the sleeves were like a thick version of a penny sleeve. So it wasn't really, it had a terrible shuffle feel. And the cards would slide around everywhere. And it was almost ridiculous. I like those played cards. You know, it makes me happy to see it. And in a way, the price of these cards and the price of the reprint, you know, you can't play them on sleeve. You can't do anything. Everything is like, oh my God, I'm going to try to preserve it, put it in, like, it's almost like it goes into a crypt, like into a mausoleum as soon as it's bought. It has to be packed away and stored safely. And that's another thing that could totally be a topic of a video. But, you know, where's the part of the fun to enjoy it? It's enjoyable. I'm not trying to take away from, I sleeve cards in decks now, and I think deck sleeves have come a long way, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But the idea that something comes out of a pack like that and it's just like instantly so valuable, but only valuable because it's printed in supposedly, I'll air quote that, a low volume, which is, I bet you, a high volume compared to the, you know, the quantities we're talking about of those original editions, and it's given such a high price tag, so it's given an artificial scarcity and an artificially high price, and to me it just feels like a cash grab. Nothing different than that, and I think it cheapens what is good about the game, and it makes expensive what is not special about anything. I mean, there's many companies and many card games that have printed pictures and words onto pieces of cardboard and made decks out of them, and that's not the special part. The special part is how the cards interact with each other and how the people interact with the cards and each other. So all in all, at this moment, when I think about them, when I think about the collector's edition and what I know about it, it's value-wise, it doesn't seem to be there. It seems like it'd be, it will give. The only good thing is it will make some of these old expensive cards enter the market in a way that a lot of the leagues that do allow proxies will allow them, and hopefully that for some people will allow them another option as opposed to like revised duels and other things like that, and which I own a lot of. And even if those things take a hit in price hit, I'm not going to be terribly bothered by it. I don't bet my life on cardboard, and I don't think anybody should. And eventually they will just probably come right back up. And I'm again, I wouldn't recommend panicking. And if people do sell their stuff because they are panicking, I'll probably end up buying some of it. Anyway, that's the video for today. I might make another video. I haven't uploaded much content besides ever just opening packs, but I've got thoughts on a lot of things in and around Magic the Gathering. So maybe there'll be some more videos coming up with stuff that's not just box openings. I appreciate everybody who watched this video, especially if you watched it to the end. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments and give the video a like if you think it's worth it. Appreciate it. Have a good night or a good morning, whatever the case may be.